Monaco, live from Monaco, with Ingrid. Tell me if I'm saying it anyway. Ingrid de la Mare Kenny.
Pretty good.
How do you say it?
De la Mare, but that's
De la Mare.
French. De la Mare.
Here in Monaco with Ingrid de la Mare Kenny.
Ooh, I like it. But you have an Italian last name.
No.
What's your last name?
Ragazzi. Ragazzi means boys in Italian.
Yes.
But our last name is Rizzaghi.
I thought your last name sounded Italian.
It
so
does.
where's it from?
Persian. It's my husband's
That's your husband.
Persian.
I didn't know that was Persian. I didn't think you took his name. Okay.
Yeah, I liked his name so much. I would have
a nice
married him
name.
just for his name.
It's a nice
if
name.
it doesn't work out between us, I'm keeping it. Yeah, I love it. But it's funny because when we were in Italy, my youngest son was a football player. He had our name written on the back of his shirt, and it just looks like it's Ragazzi spelled wrong.
Yeah.
So you cannot wear that shirt.
So you just think like, oh, these dumb Americans don't know how to spell. That's probably for sure what they would
Yeah,
think.
like we paid a lot of money to spell that wrong on his jacket.
Which, by the way, your son is so cute.
Oh,
He was like, he sent me a message, like, I don't know, when you started your tour of Europe.
yeah.
I got a message one day from him. It's like, hey, I'm Shannon's son. Something like, you changed your life. We love your food.
I know.
Can you please follow me? So I was like, I'm going to ask your mommy first. So it was so cute. Now I'm following him because she told me I should.
So I want to know, what is your skinny vice? Like, especially when you're going through your really, really difficult circumstances, what did you do? Did you ever feel like you want to eat, or are you just the type of person who just doesn't
So
eat?
for me, it's the opposite. When I'm really happy, I want to eat.
Okay.
And when I'm really stressed and unhappy, I completely lose my appetite.
Okay. So
But-
you're one of the lucky ones.
I don't know about that, but like it's, you know, my body totally like rejects food when I'm unhappy. Because I guess because for me food is always about happiness and self-care. So anytime I'm
That
unhappy, I
is
will
such
not
an
want
amazing mentality
you know
to have.
yeah, it's I really truly believe that, because for me food is all about like celebrating, and you know, you eat when you're in peace, when you're happy, so when I'm really truly unhappy, food has like doesn't come into the equation.
I'm sort of like that if I'm like under duress, like in extreme circumstances. But when it's just like the daily,
But I mean, if it's a period, for example, like I have my period, or like I'm really like my hormones are super cranky, then my vice is candy.
candy.
I love Haribo candies, and
Yeah.
I can eat a lot. And I just did today, actually. Savannah, I can tell you.
I actually brought you candy. I brought
my
you candy
gosh,
from
what
Venice.
candy?
Have you guys had these? The Sorrento limoncello?
No, you know what? I think I bought you some in Capri, but not these.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Guess what?
What?
Savannah is obsessed
That's it.
with lemon.
Yeah.
Like obsessed. She might devour all of them. Thank
My
you so
oldest
much.
son too.
Oh,
He loves it.
loves lemon.
I love everything has lemon on it. Everything has to have like sour lemon.
Your skin is gonna look amazing
She
forever.
puts lemon in
You're gonna like
rice.
be like preserved
She
forever.
puts lemon in rice.
Oh, I love lemon and rice.
She puts lemon on pizza.
I love lemon tahini and rice. Do you ever do like a tahini with
But I
lemon?
have to try it.
You do the tahini and
Laura
lemon.
from the Skinny Confidential loves everything lemon, and she,
Oh,
she
yeah.
puts it on
Pizza.
She puts it in like raspberries and chocolate. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
try it, and I was like,
Is
oh my
there
God.
lemon? Lemon goes with everything.
Yeah, her and
lemon
Lauren-
goes in your hair.
Yeah.
Bleach your hair with lemon.
Lauren and Savannah are very similar. They have a lot of similarities.
Were you the one who did like talked about the picture of the cake?
Yes.
Yes, I
That's
love
actually
that.
one of the first things in my book. I'm writing a book about health wellness, and the first thing that I came to realize was that they did this survey,
Yeah.
and they took a bunch of American people. They did it with a bunch of different cultures, but I really like to look at the American versus French because my audience is mainly American, being that I'm part American. And so they took the Americans, crowd of the same demography and same demography in a French group, and they showed them a picture of a slice of gorgeous chocolate cake and said, like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? The Americans across the board all said guilt.
Shame.
Guilt, shame,
Fat.
cheating.
Yeah.
And the French all said birthday and celebration.
Is that amazing?
Isn't that insane?
Do you guys feel so lucky to have a mom who like imparts this wisdom to you guys?
I think people every day that my mom is so cool.
Seriously.
That she's amazing and she's so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I get all my knowledge from human encyclopedia.
Yeah. I love how you use science and common sense together. It just, everything makes sense, but then you back it up with science and you bring in specialists. And I want to talk about the science of how loving your body and enjoying food can help you lose weight, because that is completely counterintuitive to the American way.
Absolutely.
We don't feel that's possible.
So for me, the logic of it was when I hit the south of France to live here. When I used to come visiting with my parents, you're here for a short amount of time. Everyone looks great. Everyone looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you go to Miami, whatever. You don't really pay attention to your surroundings. But when you move here, and you're here in the winter, in the spring, in the fall, you're like, everybody's having an amazing time. All these women are so comfortable with their bodies.
And so comfortable with
And
their
it's
food.
like all the time. And they're so comfortable with their food. They stay a long time at the table. They have no qualms about ordering wine. It's like, it's not even a question. That's where I started to look at them. And I was like, there's got to be something that science backs up with that. And it took me a while to figure it out.
Did you read French Women Don't Get Fat?
I read it,
read it?
but for me it was very amateurish. It was
Okay.
really written like, kind of like the French for dummies. I really didn't love it.
It was written for Americans.
Yeah, it was written for Americans, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I find that it's very cliche and very, but there are some things in there that do ring true. But for me, it was more like looking at women, mainly women, but even men, and realizing their nonchalance about things. And I was like, this has to be why their midsection is.
You just put that together?
I put it together.
But you researched a lot.
It was intuition first. Like there's gotta be a correlation, and then you have to realize that I've been an athlete my whole life. I was a ballet dancer. Now, when you're going into professional ballet dancing, your hormones are affected. You lose your period for a long time, because of the food restriction, the straining workout that you put your body through. So I knew that working out, your hormones are affected because you lose your period, and mainly this is one of the reasons why my mom kind of sabotaged that career for me, because she was like, no, I want you to be fertile, I want you to have children, and I thank her very much for that. It's much harder when you go through this stringent kind of lifestyle as a professional. But putting the whole hormone thing together, knowing about cortisol levels, I was like, it has to be that. It has to be that those women's cortisol levels are so low.
Yeah.
And mainly, they're not even aware of it because they don't torture their mind. They don't have the culture where you constantly torture yourself about feeling guilty about what you eat, or having someone near you make you feel guilty about what you eat.
Right.
It's
so
very
there's
rare.
A pressure on French women to stay thin, right? But it's a different thing.
Actually, if you're not thin here, people look at you like, are you sick? They don't look at you like, are you fat? Like, do you eat a lot? Like, you must be very, like, you must love food. They look at you like, do you have a problem with cholesterol? Is there, like, are you sick? Is there a history of obesity in your life, in your family? So they look at it completely differently. Like, being overweight in France is actually an illness. And very often, if you go to a dietitian or a nutritionist here, they have to be medical doctors. There's no such thing as a registered dietitian or nutritionist in France. You will go to a medical doctor.
So the doctors are more holistic.
Yes. Yes. So it's like all of that is kind of looked at as, a medical issue rather than all of these women constantly struggling. You're not going to hear someone say, I'm just going to have a salad. And I do believe that that's where I made the correlation. And
But the salads that we had last night were amazing.
well, salads here,
So
what
good.
you call salads here, have so much nutritional value. You're not just eating grass, you're eating like eggplant and and grilled peppers, and they're putting mozzarella or ricotta on it, and they're gonna put some protein with it. It's different, but still, like the real thing here, and this is how I made the correlation, working so much in fitness with hormones, realizing that people here are so relaxed. I was like, you know what, their cortisol levels are low, they don't torture themselves about diet, this is why they don't gain weight.
And the cortisol is what really does, even American scientists now know, the cortisol really does make you gain weight, and it makes you gain weight around your midsection.
Absolutely.
So tell people how they can know if their cortisol
So very often I post it on Instagram, but
you talk about it all the time.
I talk about it all the time, but I did post, I don't remember if you remember, I don't know if you remember when I posted those drawings of different types of midsections and how you can know. If you never saw that, I have to repost it. So depending on the shape of your midsection and everything that comes with it. So if, for example, you're going to answer yes to a few things that I'm about to say, like I work out 5 days a week. I eat salads almost every day. I count my calories. I do cardio. I do high impact workouts. I do heavy weights. I don't eat a lot of sugar. As a matter of fact, I eat no bread. If you answer yes to at least 3 of those things and you're still unhappy with your midsection, chances are the reason why none of those great things that you're doing for your health are working in your midsection, like they might work on your arms, they might work on your legs, they might work on your butt, but they're not working on your midsection, then we know it's your cortisol level that's playing tricks on you. And why? Cortisol is the stress level. So stress level can come from chewing salad constantly is very abusive to your cortisol level because it makes your gut enzymes so tired that it will rise your cortisol level so high. For example, going in a very noisy gym, the sounds around you, or hitting the pavement when you do cardio, hitting it hard will make your cortisol levels go up. What happens when your cortisol levels go up? That's your stress level. It has nothing to do with depression, nothing to do with fighting with people. When you say stress, people think of the emotional aspect of it. But the body goes under stress for so many other reasons. And very often, those are reasons that happen because you were trying to do good for your body. You go to the gym, you eat salad, you eat crudités. And people think that's great, but it's real shit. It's all putting your digestive system under pressure. Cortisol levels go up, you start resisting insulin. So insulin is what usually you burn for fuel, so you burn that for fuel. But when you start resisting insulin, because your cortisol levels are high, what happens is that you start storing this fat and you store it in your midsection. So very often, if you answered yes to a few of the things that I just said, and your midsection has this weird swollen look, even though you can look really fit. I don't know if you've ever looked like on the streets in Seattle, for example. You see women jogging and you go, gosh, she looks so fit, but her midsection, that's her cortisol levels. You can see it. And very often when I look at certain women's midsection where they look super fit, but something is up there, I say, oh, that's hormonal weight. Right. She's put on hormonal weight. So it's not the diet, it's not the exercise, it's the cortisol.
It's similar to the weight you put on when you're pregnant or like
almost, yes. Yeah.
It's also stressful.
But that one you kind of embrace it because it's like for a good cause.
Yeah, true.
There are all types of situations, even high stress. Like you're an actress, and let's say you're stressed about getting a job. You know, whatever
that actually brings me so much life and joy. I think I'm more stressed as a mother, just trying to the pressure.
But you know what? I get it too, and very often it will be about muting, and I'll explain.
Yeah, dude.
Very often I will tell my kids like I need to mute, and they can tell you like you need to stop talking. Like they'll be fighting or arguing. Yeah. For example, Dylan now is 20 years old, is going to law school. He will stress me because he procrastinates. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I give you all of the time that I could, and right now I need to mute you. So I take my time. I go outside with whatever makes me happy, whether it's a book, whether it's a podcast, whether it's music. I'll look for some sunlight. Sunlight helps a lot. But denoising. Noise has a huge effect. So when you were saying being in high octane situations, one thing you can control is the noise around you. That's very important, and the light as well. Light is really, really important. So try to be a little less in artificial light when the situation is this way, and try to control the noises in your environment as well. I know it's difficult.
So hard because they're boys.
So I always give that little tip, which makes everyone laugh, and I'm like, tell your kids to shut the fuck up, that mommy's gonna be French for 5 minutes. Because French women, literally, I don't know how they do it, I still can't, but it drives us crazy. They can hear their kids like completely scream in a restaurant, and they will continue smoking their cigarette, drinking their wine, and they look so fucking relaxed, and I could just punch them. And I'm like, how the fuck does she do that? Like, even I'm learning now to be a little bit more that way and being able to, but I'm very like spongy, like I absorb energies around me a lot. And other situations have nothing to do with me in a restaurant or whatever can affect me. So very often, like when we go for brunch, you know, brunch is noisy. You go to places where people come and they're going to start having a Bellini around 11 or 12 and they start talking louder. And at that point, you realize you're more inclined to eating the French fries on the table or wanting like eggs Benedict or whatever. It's the noise. So very often when we go into a restaurant for brunch, I will tell she like, I want the table by the window there, a little bit further out. I don't want to be next to the music. I don't want this, I don't want that, because I know it will open my appetite. And it's science.
Yeah, I like the mute button. I'll tell Kaveh you said it. He might.
French mute button.
My son Kaveh, he might like it more.
Yeah, just tell me Ingrid said, shut the fuck up, mom's having like French time.
Yeah.
But just always think of the French woman like being so nonchalant, and we've watched kids like literally.
It's like they have a
mute button. It's incredible, and they have the best time ever. And their kid is on the floor dragging themselves and yelling. And the woman.
I think it's cool that happens in France, because I read, that it doesn't happen in France.
No,
Kids don't have
it
tantrums.
does. It does. They don't have the American tantrums. No, those don't exist.
Oh.
But you'll have a kid that's like, taking forks and being like a musician or whatever. But and it's normal. We've seen some. Very often we're all looking at them like, we can't believe this.
Yeah. Just going to say, I don't know if we're talking too much about this, but like, how I think in France you're taught to kind of eat until you're 80% full.
Yeah.
And like Americans are taught like finish everything on your plate. Absolutely. And then there's always room for dessert, right? Like,
absolutely.
That's kind of, so the mentalities are so different. So if you have the mentality of like, no, you have to finish everything on your plate, which is kind of what I grew up with. How do you reverse?
It's very simple.
Oh.
The reason why we don't have this mentality is because of how much we put in the plate to start with.
You're right. You
so
just have a small
very
portion.
often when I'm at the restaurant where it's hard to micromanage what they serve you, and today in the south of France they cater so much to tourists that the portions have become bigger, even here. So what I do is I ask for a small dessert plate and I serve myself, and I will leave the main plate, and sometimes they can get offended. I'm like, no, it's okay, it's just we're all gonna share, don't worry. And I kind of put the plate that they gave me to start with like in the center of the table for anyone who wants to dig in, but I will serve myself a smaller portion. Also, my mom always said that it's very refined to leave even one little piece on your plate. Even if you leave one tiny piece, just don't clean up your plate, don't clean it out. And I never do. Even just the tiniest piece, like sometimes teacher will be like, you left the crust, it's tiny, and I'm like, my mom always said you have to leave something in your plate.
It's chic.
But it's chic, and it's also like how much there's in the plate to start with.
And you said it's rude to go back for seconds.
Yes, super rude to go back for seconds, because you're telling the host that she did not serve you enough and it was not satiating enough. So that's why we have the salad after in general.
But it's so different. Like in my husband's country, it's so rude.
I know.
Yeah, and they'll bring it whether you ask or not.
It's like Morocco as well. Morocco is the same. because it's all about hospitality. And
So what do you do in Morocco when they're bringing you out?
you know, today Morocco has evolved, and there's so much tourism. I mean, and there's so much French people. They've become very French.
Yeah.
You know, Yves Saint Laurent made it his main residence. Like you had Catherine Deneuve and Alain Delon going there. So all of these French actors and stuff. So it's become so refined. It's really Franco-Moroccan now. That's why my cookbook is French-Moroccan cuisine, because they mesh so well together.
Your recipes are incredible.
Thank you. I know you make
Your mustard
you've made a lot of
vinaigrette
them.
is like my whole family licks the plate on that one.
I
They're like
love
drinking
that.
the rest of
So
the
happy
vinaigrette.
that you made the lemon chicken. I love that.
I haven't mastered the green beans. I'm working on it. Or my tuna. The tuna.
Tuna that you put in the bulletproof. I remember I was like, why is it liquid?
It was like a tuna
I told
soup.
them. I was like, shit, I should have said to not put it in a bulletproof thing.
Yeah.
I didn't
But you
think
know
about
what?
that.
It tasted good. It was a good soup.
But it's super liquidy.
The flavor was right. So maybe that's enough with food. I don't want to. You've said so much already on balancing your hormones and balancing your gut, and what would you say are the signs of poor gut health that people could recognize right away?
So Dr. Gondry said that your gut is your skin inside out. This Caroline that came on my podcast right after you, I don't know if you remember, she told her story about starting inulin and getting rid of eczema. She's the one who reminded me, because I love Dr. Gondry's outlook on the whole gut health, and we agree on so many things, and then I feel like it's super drastic on other things. Like you really have to take the good and leave the bad with doctors in general.
Because it's all about stress, right?
Yes, and I think it causes a huge stigma on lectins, and I mean you can't live like that either.
Yeah, because I want to make a point of that too. I feel like as my husband was kind of going on Dr. Gundry's
You
kick,
told me that, yeah.
and I said, you know what? If going on that diet, like being that extreme, is very stressful to you, then it's just as bad as
not
eating
gonna work.
lectin.
And also
right?
the worst part is that you're not always in a position like, look, like, you guys have been traveling for 2 months now. You can't control what you eat the same way that you do at home.
No.
And what happens is you literally like shock your body when you start, exposing it again to like lectins and things like that.
Yeah.
So I love Dr. Gondry.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally. He went on the Skinny Confidential, and at that point, Lauren called me and said, oh my God, like this man literally, and you have the same brain. And I was like, yeah, except he's a lot smarter and he's performed 10,000 heart surgeries, But yeah, the philosophy is there, the knowledge is there, but this is why it was important for me to add the whole savoir-vivre, like the art of living, the French art of living, to remind people that they really have to stop putting themselves on these crazy programs and rules.
Right.
So that being said, how can you figure out that you have a problem with your gut? Your skin is a big indicator.
Yeah.
The white of your eyes is a huge one. So if you see someone that like the white of their eyes doesn't look completely white, you know that they have a problem with their gut.
Interesting.
Having a lot of intolerances and allergies to foods, and aversions, that means that we're not born with allergies.
Right.
We are not born with intolerances. It's not like it's really fashionable to be intolerant to gluten, and everybody's going for these tests. Like, I think they told me that I was intolerant to something like arugula or something like that, and I'm not. Like, I eat it and it's super healthy.
And you're fine,
And I'm
right.
fine.
Yeah.
And I had like, I remember Neddy had the same thing. Like, no, not Neddy, Giovanna. She had the same thing, and it's like she was at the retreat, Giovanna, and the same thing. She's like, I'm supposed to be really intolerant to arugula, but we ate it the whole retreat and I was great. So the thing is, when I'm talking about, having intolerances, not intolerances that they told you have, but like being intolerant to certain foods.
Right.
Having FODMAP, for example. FODMAP are really people that are intolerant to things like inulin or vegetables that have inulin in them, like garlic, onion, beetroot, like things like that.
Are they allergic to fiber or
They're
specifically
literally
just
not
allergic?
allergic, but extremely intolerant, and they get very bloated and they don't feel well.
Okay.
So they're intolerant to FODMAP. They have FODMAP intolerance. And they accept it and they live with it, thinking they're born with it. You're not supposed to have these intolerances. You're not supposed to have these allergies. Having an allergy to egg is not natural. If you do, it means your gut is not healthy. That can be fixed by balancing your gut. So these are good ways of knowing, for example, if your gut is unhealthy. If you're dieting and you're having a super balanced diet and you're exercising and you're still gaining weight or you're plateauing, chances are the problem is with your gut. If your period is not regular, chances are the problem comes from your gut. If you have problems sleeping, if you have depression you cannot explain, that's the brain to gut axis. That also often starts with your gut. If you can't concentrate, if your child has a hard time concentrating, you can usually fix it through the gut.
And you were saying even food allergies can be cured.
Yes, if you balance your gut out, even with simply inulin. Let's say you do simply inulin and you do a probiotic, whether it's the kefir or you have raw fermented cheeses or you have, sauerkraut or things like that.
Pickled vegetables.
But you you really balance it out and you have the prebiotic as well. You may balance your gut out and you may not have the food intolerances you had before. And I've seen it happen.
If you balance your gut, your hormones start balancing
Totally
themselves.
balance out. Exactly.
I've
had so many people getting their periods back. And I had people at the beginning also losing their period at first and getting totally freaked out. But that's just because the gut is balancing everything out. And so you see, it's like, how could it be that from simply inulin, for example, which is fiber, it's prebiotic, you could either have your period or not. That's because it is so connected. The gut is so connected with your hormonal balance.
So your specific inulin is BPA free and it's not an endocrine disruptor because usually plastic is.
The packaging,
Yeah. So plastic is an endocrine disruptor, which is a hormone disruptor. It gives you extra estrogen, or it promotes estrogen.
It promotes estrogen, estrogen dominance. In some cases, it can really disrupt your endocrine on so many things, not just the estrogen.
So plastic.
For example, plastic, or there are some cleaning products in your house that can cause that. There are some containers that you use, like for your food. Like very often, if you're going to eat yogurt, the aluminum, the foil that's on top of it, I would suggest to throw it out right away. Don't leave it on the jar as you're eating, for example. All of that stuff unbalance your hormones. So you have to be careful with all of that. And it's not just that it creates estrogen dominance, it starts secreting estrogen that you don't need in your body. There are so many different kinds of estrogen and not all of them are good. So it's the same thing as going to the gym sometimes. People are like, I'm building muscle and I see that I'm also bloating from it, and they're building water. That's what we call wet muscles. That's when you start secreting a sort of estrogen that you don't want to have in your body.
I have wet muscles.
So there you go. That's probably because of your estrogen levels. You're not in trouble. From what I can see, you're not in trouble at all. Not at all.
My mom said, because she's like postmenopausal.
Okay.
And so when I told her about the plastic, she's like, "Oh, good. It causes more estrogen. I need more estrogen."
That's why I was saying not all estrogen are created equal, and there are certain estrogens we don't want in our body. Plastic is toxic. I mean, we need to have it. Obviously, our jar is a PET plastic. For example, the one in Cipinulin, and it's the same plastic that is used for cancer patients' prescription medication. So the reason why we've done this is because when they give prescription medication to cancer patients, they're already going through so much. Very often they go through chemo, or they go through so much. We don't want to disrupt more of their immune system or their hormones, so they've made this specific plastic that's also very, very environment friendly. And it's recyclable and all of that. So we use the same plastic. It's made in Germany, and luckily in Germany they make it available for some beauty products. It costs more money, but for me that was worth it, because I couldn't imagine fixing one thing but ruining another.
And for the people who follow you, it's worth it.
I think when you come to this realization that the hormones are everything, so much more than what you put in your mouth, at that point you start looking at that as a priority where you weren't before.
Okay, let's just delve into how cardio can make you fat, like hard cardio.
Okay, so we just spoke about wet and dry muscles before. They are twofold to hard cardio. So when you do cardio, it is technically what we call cardiovascular activity, which is good for your heart. And so it got a good rep from cardiologists and doctors that look at your heart. Very often, the thing with medical corps, not that we want to badmouth doctors, is that they have, they're specialized in something.
Yeah.
So your heart doctor is not going to be concerned with, for example, your gut.
Yeah.
He may be concerned with your cholesterol because cholesterol affects your cardiovascular health, but he will not be concerned, for example, with your gut or with your hormones. He won't be concerned with that.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
So this is where you have to come in and go, I care about the whole thing. I care about the whole apparel there, and I have to take care of it. So what happens with, cardio, everyone thinks this is how you lose weight. And it's true on certain levels, because if your heartbeat, is
runners
healthy
are
and all
thin,
that,
generally.
some of them are thin, but it's not true for, everyday people like you and me that eat normally and have normal lifestyles, and then they call themselves runners 2 hours in the morning. Those are the people that encounter a problem. And very often when I say, are you a runner? Are you someone that does cardio every day and you're still very unhappy with your body? And they go, well, I'm muscular, I have a six-pack, I have very strong legs, but I feel like my legs are so big and they don't fit in their jeans anymore. And that's where the problem is. Because running this way and hitting the pavement hard will rise your cortisol levels. Your enzymes, your aromatase enzymes, start releasing the estrogen that we were saying we don't want. So those are the glycogen stores get really huge, and that's the water that starts coming around your muscle. Very often, at the very beginning, people will mistake this water around the muscle for definition because it looks more curvy. But down the line, this just becomes bulk. And some people love it. Some girls love those types of bodies. But the ones that come to me and that are reformed runners go, please get rid of it. And that's what the problem is. This cardio, first of all, creates wet muscles, and then it will create insulin resistance because your cortisol levels go so high as you're hitting the pavement. High impact. Tapping hard onto the pavement will cause high cortisol levels. And again, midsection, stubborn fat, storage. So it's kind of like, for people that argue with that, and trust me, there are a lot, and people get upset with that because you have avid runners, I say to them, if you answered no to everything I said, then, move on, go listen to someone else. But if you're still here listening and going, yeah, I run, yeah, I feel like my legs are getting too big to fit into my jeans, yeah, I kind of don't like my midsection even though I'm running every day, then you're still here because you want to hear what I have to say. And that's where you start looking at cortisol level and insulin resistance.
I don't think I talked about on your show, but when we were trying to get pregnant with Kave, did I talk about the miscarriages?
No, you didn't.
So, right away I got pregnant when we started trying for our second son. And so as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I ran to the gym. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be like the super fit mom. Yeah. And I worked out so hard, and I remember 3 days in a row I would leave with red face and feeling really good about myself. And then a week later I started my period.
Oh my God.
So I lost that one. And then the second month, same deal. So the second month it happened again. I got pregnant right away, and I was like, okay, second chance, because the whole month, of course, I was just
God.
I don't love to exercise. So I found I was pregnant the second month. I went back to the gym. I was working out really hard. Same thing. Within a week, I lost the baby. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm talking red face. I was really pushing myself.
You didn't put 2 and 2 together?
Well, the second time I did, because I was 2. I didn't put one, the 2 and 2. So the second month when that happened, I thought, oh my God,
you caused this. Yeah.
This is, I think it's from exercising.
Of course.
So then the third month, I got pregnant right away. I didn't exercise at all. If I had had you in my life at that time, I would have realized, I can still exercise.
Yeah, you can exercise on a mat. That's what the mat is all about.
Yeah, but I was so afraid. So I was super lazy during that whole pregnancy, and of course I had my child.
Yeah.
And I gained so much weight, and he was 10 pounds. And
oh my God.
I had 2 10-pound babies. I don't know if I'll ever totally recover.
10 pounds.
Yeah, that's why I never show my stomach.
That's impressive.
It's not attractive anymore.
I doubt that. I think you're being very hard on yourself, but everything, you can recover from everything. You're still young.
Maybe. I think I need to do your method.
There you go.
Traveling is hard because I don't have a yoga mat. We're maxed out with our luggage. And
Yeah, no.
it's hard.
If you're in a hotel, usually they have some at the gym, and you could do
Well,
the
we've been doing
towel
Airbnbs
workout.
mostly.
You could do the lash workout with the towel. Yeah, she does it with the towel. Yeah,
I need to do it.
it's true.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to record it and show people.
Yeah, Savannah just did the virtual platform today.
You did?
And it was really weird because mom is upstairs, like all the way upstairs, and I was.
But you're
doing
hearing
it
her
with
voice.
I was
visual
working,
mom.
so she's
And I was
like,
with mom, but mom was upstairs. It was even weirder for me because
Like your mom's babysitting you virtually. Through
Yeah.
it.
So I did it this morning, and I was very happy.
Yeah.
no, you could do it on the go. You should try the flash
I'll
workout.
see how it
with the
works in the
towel.
hotel room. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
Let's talk about cellulite. You had a whole thing on cellulite.
Yes,
The one with
I
Jill.
wrote a whole article about
Yeah.
cellulite too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Have I seen it? I don't think I've seen
Actually,
it.
the original one I wrote was for the Skinny Confidential.
I have not seen it. I
have to
missed
send it to you. So that one
Yes.
is called Are You Wet or Dry? That's the one. And it's like my podcast where Are You Wet or Dry? And I actually, in that one, the extra one that we wrote, I took this one and it had kind of been molded for the Skinny Confidential because she had a collab with Victoria's Secret.
Oh, right.
So
I
I
saw
couldn't say
that.
anything bad about the Victoria's Secret
Yeah.
training. So originally I had, and then I had to edit it to make sure that we weren't like being offensive.
We can talk bad
So-
about it on my blog.
Yeah, so the original, I'll send it to you, that way maybe
Yeah.
you can like.
Yes.
So the original one I wrote, I ended up giving it to my retreat attendees, and it's all about like how they train so hard and they go on the no liquid diet for 48 hours before the show,
I heard
so they
about
wouldn't
that.
build water.
Yeah.
And when they go on this liquid diet, what they're doing is they look amazing for the time of the fashion show, but very often if you see like Alessandra Ambrosio on the streets of New York, and in the article there's a picture of her before and after, you see she'll have a lot of cellulite on her legs. And the reason for that is
I did
because
hear
she
that on your
fucked with her
podcast.
hormones like so bad
Yeah.
that's pretty much the body's reaction to screwing with your hormones is cellulite.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
I've screwed with my hormones. Like now I'm getting it on my arms. Like I don't know what's happening to me, but okay. So I read that Italian, because I was in Italy.
Yeah.
I read that Italian girls don't like to exercise, and I was like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, they don't exercise so much.
I'm kind of cerebral. I like working my brain more than my body. But anyway, and so one of the things they do is they use this product. I actually have it. I brought it
Did
so you can
you
look
buy
at it.
the actual freaking product?
I did, and I just started using it. I have to show
But
you.
you have to
But
know
do you
that Italian women look good dressed. They do not look good naked.
they don't.
No.
Okay, how would I know?
They look
I didn't
good while
see
they
anybody
are
naked.
Model. Can you show her model?
It's better to look good naked than dressed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You say that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
I always say like
I know.
dietitian and nutritionists want to make you look good dressed. I want to make you look good naked.
So this doesn't make me look good naked because I'm
think
counting
so.
on it.
Oh God.
I have
What
high hopes.
fucking bullshit.
It's called, okay, for the audience,
And
it's called
like, oh, it's got
somatolene.
Zentam. You know what? It's got Zentam gum.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorbitol. That sounds not
Okay,
good.
stop. Did it have any good ingredients?
Oh my gosh, this Monodrato Perfumerosa Acqua Depurata. Oh gosh, what the actual fuck?
So they use this for
That
what?
sounds like a fucking disease.
Wait, so they use this for what exactly?
Oh, this
Like,
is-
So
what they
it's
wear?
a cream,
everyone-
it's cutaneous, you put it
Yeah.
on your skin. Do you know what?
They all
I
swore
would have
by
been
it too. They said
happier.
they called it medicine.
I would have been happier if it had caffeine in it. Because caffeine is known to actually burst those little cellulite.
Should I just scrub caffeine, like make a sugar
They say-
caffeine coffee scrub?
Well, you know what? Actually, coffee scrubs with a really good brush. What you want to do is, this does nothing. Already, when you put creams on...
Breaking my heart.
Yeah, I know.
It's so easy.
Short of microneedling your skin so that penetrates,
Can you microneedle cellulite?
yeah, you can microneedle cellulite, but at that point, you don't even need that cream because it's shit. It has a lot of shit in it.
Alright.
So you might as well microneedle, and you want the collagen to come up to
Yes.
the surface and build up. So microneedling will do that.
I have an article about that. Build thicker skin.
build
with
thicker skin. So what happens is, you know how like when you fall and you scratch your skin, automatically you have a collagen rush on your epidermal layer
Right.
that creates this new skin.
And microneedling
So when
does it
you
deep down?
microneedle, you're actually making your skin react as if it was just micro damaged, and so it creates collagen production.
I need to do this.
So it's not pleasant, and it will look like very
I've had
bad
lasers.
scratches for a while. But that can help. But the
Yeah.
best thing you can do is probably tend to your gut and your hormones.
Yes, I need
That
to.
will make cellulite go away. And
I
then,
have eaten so much bread and cheese and pasta and cheese and butter.
so you see, that's
I'm like the fattened calf over here.
that would be okay, but this is where people go wrong, and this is where the French are different from everybody else, including the Italians. The French are gonna look at bread, pasta, and cheese as pleasure, which is fantastic.
It does bring me pleasure.
So it does bring you pleasure, but then when you sit at a table, you also have to think of feeding yourself.
Yeah.
This is where everybody's wrong. So when I sit down to dinner, I will say I am dying for a plate of pasta. So I'm going to have my plate of pasta like you would have dessert.
Yeah.
You know that dessert is not nutritional whatsoever. It does nothing for your health. It does for your pleasure, which ultimately does for your health.
Right.
Being happy is good for your health. But what it is with pasta is I'll have it as an antipasti, which is an appetizer,
Right.
and it will be my pleasure. And then as my main course, I will order, for example, the veal with lemon, which all Italians serve.
Yeah.
You know, for example, the scallopini with lemon, and I'll order my vegetables, and that will be where I get my nutrients. So this is where everyone goes wrong. They're gonna go to the restaurant and they're gonna have a plate of pasta, going, okay, I'm fed, but this is why you're hungry 3 hours later, because you are not fed. You're happy, but you're not
There's
fed.
no nutritional
So
balance in
what
your body.
you want to do is you want to order, a plate of pasta, share it with someone, eat the size of your hand in a plate of pasta. This was your happiness, and then you want your nutritional value from your protein and your vegetables. And chances are with that, you will balance your hormones, because now we're talking food, we're talking real nutrition for you guys.
This is so brilliant and so simple.
It's so simple.
And why I only listen to you, basically.
Aw, thank you.
I really do. I think too, because as I was saying, I read like 20, probably 20 French books on parenting and diet and nutrition, and it really changed my outlook when I first had my kids. But then, because of the industry I'm in, it wasn't enough just to be normal thin.
Yeah.
As soon as I found out I'm in a film or commercial, it's like, now I want to get sick skinny, It's like
because
it's like
also,
a fun thing to
and
do.
I find
to,
that
like,
the
starve
camera
yourself
adds
and-
so much. Like I sometimes see myself on
does.
camera and go, like, I don't even look like that.
No.
Like sometimes I don't recognize my body, and I'm like, I don't.
You are so much thinner than
In
you
real
are.
life, yeah.
You are
It's
so
so
you are
crazy.
so thin on camera.
Yeah. But
in real life,
in
you're
real
even
life,
more
I'm
petite.
thinner. Yeah. The camera. So I can just. I think that's why I never wanted to be in front of the camera.
Oh.
I've always worked
You're
with
so beautiful
actresses.
now, yeah.
Thank you. But I've worked with actresses my whole life. I dressed them.
Yeah.
And I always saw how much pressure was put on them. I mean, I worked with Sarah Jessica Parker. It was a toothpick. And still so much pressure, because you do.
No way.
There are some takes where you would look at her and go, that's not her body.
Like when she was pregnant, or
Not even. It's just, but
Really?
even sometimes Savannah takes videos of me. I'm like, I look like an Oompa Loompa. What the actual fuck? Like,
I have to delete all my husband's pictures of me in his phone because
we have that too.
I'm like Mother Hubbard over
Like
like,
the
that's not
minute we
me.
take pictures, we have to take we have to be on
We
top
have to
of
like
that
take
shit. Like, we have to-
156 of them to
have
like
to
get
make sure
one
no
good
one
one.
has, like,
But you
anything
see,
or-
it's like I'm skinnier in real life, so it's
And we do that for your pleasure. The pleasure of our audience.
Exactly.
You don't want to know what we look like without a filter. Maybe Ingrid.
You look amazing. You look exactly like you do with your filters.
Thank you.
She don't look any different.
But we see each other as we really are, but
Yeah.
the camera sees something different, right? Like the HD
Probably.
picks up every pore, every
But I mean, you're an
That's
actress.
unfair.
We
When
don't
I used
see
to work
each
for
other that
fashion
way in real
TV,
life.
so when I used to
yeah.
work for fashion TV, this was not my job. Like when I arrived here, they put me in front of the camera, which was never what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
The minute I started looking at myself on like big TV screens, because fashion TV plays all over Monaco in bars and stuff, so I would walk into a bar and see myself. I would like run to my dermatologist and be like, you need to do something about this.
Yeah.
Like it was
You see it in
horrible.
HD.
You
Imagine
see
I've seen,
stuff.
And the camera's
I've
like up your
seen
nostril, and you're just
every
like,
hair
Everything.
on the big screen several times, and I'm like horrified. Like I don't think it's
It's
not
a
what I
lot of
see in the
pressure.
mirror.
But that's why it was important that you came on Pardon My French to talk
Yeah.
about that, because the pressure
It's a lot.
in the industry is so hard, and
You cannot be healthy in this industry. I
and
don't
you know
how.
what? That's why I love Lauren so much, because she fights it so well.
Yeah.
And like people like literally like come up to her on the street in LA and stuff, and at this point you're like, you know what? This is who I am. This is what I am. But at the beginning it was super hard for her, and she talks about it all the time. I think that's why she also loves to come to the south of France, because people leave her alone here.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of pressure. It's not easy.
It is.
Tough job you picked.
Yeah. Okay. So cellulite creams are out.
Cellulite creams are shit.
Okay.
You have to know that when you put cream on your face, only 0.3% of that cream penetrates into your epidermal layer. So this is why we microneedle usually,
Yeah.
so that
I
the
never
cream
heard of
could
that.
really sip through.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's true.
You know, so
I'd never heard of microneedling for cellulite. Definitely
it
gonna
works
try
well.
that.
They
and
have
I'm
a
gonna let
big
you know.
one for cellulite, and that works. And there's a special brush also.
I've
The idea is to really stimulate your collagen production.
Yeah.
So, by the way, when you go in a jacuzzi and you let the jets of water go on your leg, and then
Yeah.
you're all itchy, that's collagen production.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes I ask my husband for massage and he gets lazy and gets out the massaging and it makes me itch all over.
But that's
But
collagen
maybe-
production.
maybe
That's what it is. And very
maybe I'm
often,
adverse to collagen.
if you go pee right after, that's because you're getting, it's a lymphatic drainage.
Stop it. You guys, we all need to be doing this.
Oh yeah.
you know, like
That's
the
another one.
Kardashians.
But you
Wait,
don't, the collagen, you know, everybody was asking me, but you heard me talk about, you listened to the podcast, the collagen peptides. And you're not producing collagen by drinking collagen. You're only producing collagen by eating food. Like there's
Yeah.
only certain foods that you're going to eat. But, you know,
I have to
collagen
say that
peptides-
those vitamins that Lauren is peddling. What are they? Wait,
the rituals.
ritual vitamins.
Yeah.
One of the best things I've ever taken.
Oh, probably. I'm sure that
no,
they have
like my nails
for
would
hair
not
and nails.
grow. My nails would not grow. And
For
then
hair and nails, absolutely.
3
but
weeks
inulin
into
helps with
it,
that too.
But you know why? Because my American diet is so depleted. Like even
Yeah.
the fruits and vegetables are so depleted.
I know.
You can't get certain nutrients.
That's why
so
we're
as soon
coming
as
out with a
there's
protein
ritual-
powder now. I was so against protein powders, but I realized that Americans actually rely on it so much because they're so afraid to eat meat, poultry, eggs, cheese.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? If I don't want them to have all these shit protein powders,
to
the
make
best
it.
thing that I can do is have one made in Europe and send it to them. Because I'm
Yeah.
so against it, but it was very limited of me to say just have food. A lot of people wrote to me and said, we can't have the meat that you have.
Yeah.
You go buy meat and it's beautiful and pink. We go buy meat and it's like green.
It's like
you
it has
know?
cancer and tumors in our
and
knees.
so, you know,
It's
I had to
serious.
listen to that. It's like,
It's
so
sad.
people wrote to me and were like, wait, you're coming up with a protein powder now? You're against protein
I
powder.
know, I
And I'm
know.
like, I'm against your shit protein powder.
Yeah.
But I understand that you need protein, and you,
Yeah.
like you said, it's depleted. Like, so what do? Well, we find one. We make
Yeah.
one for you that's safe in Europe, and we send it to you.
You articulated it so well. The first time I saw the protein powder, I was like,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
And then, but you immediately,
But I'm
immediately
not.
explained.
I'm not going
yeah.
back on what I said.
Of course
and
not,
like for
no.
people that are actually consuming, you know, like I explained, like
Regular
I have meat. I had
protein,
meat
yeah.
today. You know, for people that have meat that day, don't have protein powder.
Yeah.
Why are you having both?
Yeah.
People, especially Americans, and I never say this in an offensive way because I am half American, you
Yeah.
know, and I love my American culture.
Yeah.
My kids are American,
Yeah.
and a lot of what we are here in France, we embrace it. Like we took the good here, but we totally leave the bad. They're super stiff, they're rude. We're very American. We're sociable. We're nice to
Yeah.
everybody. We like your hair. We'll stop you on the street. We'll tell you. We kept a lot of our American side to us. We don't watch French TV because we hate it. We watch American TV. But the thing with the Americans is that they always want this, you know, this quick, the quickest fix ever, and they think having protein powder is going to make them build muscle. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. There's just
Right.
so much protein that you should have, and preferably you should have real protein. That's the thing. So, you know, I'm not going back on my words as far as that's concerned, because you have to know excess protein will also create insulin resistance and rise your cortisol levels.
Yeah.
It's all kind of like connected.
Yeah. And I love that you started with a gut. Like, I mean, I know that you didn't start doing this to start a product line. That wasn't your intention at all.
Never.
But like realizing a need, like
Yeah.
seeing the gap, filling the gap, and you're doing it so brilliantly with your products.
Thank you.
I love your inulin. I ran out on this trip.
But we're gonna bring you some more. I just told Savannah when I left. I'm like, I forgot to bring
did
you
you
the
forget?
inulin, but you're here until when?
Now I have to kill you.
You're here until when?
Tomorrow morning we're leaving for Nice.
Oh, you're leaving. Well, you'll be in Nice. We won't be far. We'll find a way to give it to you. Before
Maybe we
you
can send
leave.
it to our hotel.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not, our
We won't be
Airbnb.
far. No, you won't be far. So we'll
Yeah.
find a way to get it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I really miss your inulin. I've been eating artichokes like every day.
That's good, but that's
'Cause
the
I remember
thing.
you
The
said.
food here, has inulin in it. I always say to people, like, why are you panicked when you don't have inulin? Eat a fucking artichoke.
I was
Eat a
super
beetroot.
panicked when I heard you say that, and it was like such a relief. I'm like, oh yeah, artichokes.
Artichokes is amazing.
Yeah.
String beans.
Yeah. I'm still not good at making string beans. I think I like skim like your recipe. Like I don't read very well. Maybe
Yeah, I
I'm
know you said that.
ADD.
She's like, I really don't do recipes,
I'm really
but I'm
bad
gonna
at it.
try.
Doesn't do recipes.
I just overcook the green beans so they're like a soup, like with my tuna soup
Oh
and
my
my
God.
green bean
Have to make
soup.
it for Genie because she doesn't. I think she's her own measuring cup.
Writing the book for me was torture.
I know.
Because I was sitting there with Susan. She's like, okay, so how many tablespoons? I was like, I don't fucking know.
Right.
I just
It was like a lab, like
it was like
science lab.
It
it
is
was
a science
torture.
lab.
Because if you listen to all of the videos, you're never gonna hear about. Okay, so take half a cup. Then,
That's
like,
how I
you'll never-
knew, because I always watch your cooking videos, and I love the way you do it, because I'm like,
never
oh,
hear her
you're
say
speaking my language. I'm like,
Yeah,
here's
it's just
a
like
dollop
throw
of this.
everything in.
It's like you'll
Yeah.
never
It's like, oh, it doesn't look orange enough. Let's add some saffron.
Yeah.
It's like simpler.
You know why it's like that? Because technically no one taught me how to cook. Like in my family, my mother, my grandmother, they were always in the kitchen. My
Yeah.
aunts, like everybody always cooks. And they never gonna take you and go, oh wait, I'm gonna make you into a good wife, teach you how to
Right,
cook.
yeah.
So all you remember is like smells, colors, and I recreated. And
Yeah.
then in the end, it doesn't come out exactly like my grandmother. It became my own.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I could add a little bit of that and let's be more French and add that. And so that's how the recipes are born.
And that's the whole point, is to have fun with it, right?
Yes, I have fun and do
Yeah.
it with love. That's super
And you're
important.
okay. I want to talk about your hedonism. You say hedonism.
Yes.
I say hedonism. So I was raised
Because
to
I
think
have a
that
French
that
accent
was-
now somehow. I don't
I
even
know.
know how that fucking happened.
But I grew up thinking that hedonism was like evil.
But
So when you
really?
first, yeah. I have like a very like religious, like strict religious family.
Like too much pleasure is evil.
I just thought it was like an evil cult. And so you so you explained
Ooh,
it.
she's part of
and I
that
was like,
sect.
oh, of course I'm a hedonist.
Yeah.
Of course I am. I mean,
It's the
enjoyment
extreme
of pleasure.
pursuit of pleasure.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody
Who doesn't
yesterday.
like pleasure? Come
exactly.
on, like-
Well, a lot of people think that pleasure is a
not.
problem. Yeah. Yeah.
Even
and
if you're
even with
religious,
food.
I say, okay, if you're religious, like God created you with five senses. It's a slap in his face not to enjoy
Absolutely.
what he created.
That's what I say
right?
all the time. Like, use your God-given intuition.
You do say that.
You
yeah.
can use your God-given gifts. It's funny because I have a client. She worked with a dietitian before, and the dietitian tried to explain to her that like you should not associate food with good memories, and you should not see food as pleasure. You should just see food as fuel.
That's
And
awful.
I was like, that is so awful. You're creating like an eating disorder right there. Because
That
for me,
is.
food is all about great memories. Like Savannah and I just had a plate of pasta that we shared.
Yeah.
And we were like, tasted it, and I looked at her and I'm like, reminds me of something. So she goes, yeah, something from New York. What was it? And it's like we kind of spent the whole lunch trying to remember
Yeah.
what it was reminding us of.
And that's
you know?
interesting.
we find pleasure.
But I think
Yeah.
it should always be like a pleasure, memories, like
Yeah.
kids will always associate a certain dish that you prepare for them for their birthday, for example.
They
My
do,
mother
of
used to make
course.
that for me,
And you want to recreate that as an adult.
course.
It's so healthy. It's so
It's super
beautiful.
healthy.
And, yeah. And it brings your hormones into balance.
Absolutely.
As long as the gut first, it sounds like.
Well,
That's,
the gut and brain axis have a big thing to do with one another. So technically, if you associate food with pleasure, if you associate it with good memories in your life, chances are you'll be less likely to retain the fat from what you're eating.
I know.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's scientifically proven. Yeah.
It's so important to know that. Okay, can we get into your dating life?
Yes.
I want to stay tuned for next week's interview where Ingrid and I are talking everything personal, like how to get out of bad relationships, dating as a single mom, how her move to Monaco affected her life, being a sexy mom, how to be irresistibly sexy and attract the right people into your life, how we deal with haters and copycats. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be good. You don't want to miss it. See you next week.